High FM, 101.9 megahertz of life.
Going to move things around a little bit and chat first to Yigal Marcus, who is the director at Republican Overseas. From Israel's perspective, of course, the sale of these F-35s to Turkey by the United States is a bit bigger than the sale of an aircraft. Because we know for decades the US has maintained a very, very careful relationship in the region. Does this upset the balance of power? Yigal Marcus, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. I hope you are well.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Great. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Although continually perplexed, that's I think that's the state that many of us are in. Just spending my life really, or the last few weeks, scratching my head and just wondering what on earth is going on. Is there a deeper strategy at play? Am I missing something? Have I missed something? Talk to me about the sale of F-35s to Turkey.
Yeah, it's a very strange world we're living in right now.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like Trump can be bought off so easily by people who just treat him well and speak very nicely of him. And so it's obviously selling the F-35 to Turkey would be a terrible mistake. Because that's one of the significant protective shields that Israel has in its offensive capabilities, and giving the same kind of capability to another Islamist, anti-Semitic, anti-Israel, terrorist supporting entity like Erdogan's Turkey would be terrible and would really affect the balance of power in the Middle East. And it's not a done deal. You have to understand that. And obviously, him going to a NATO conference in Turkey, he's not going to say bad things going into that. He wants to be positive, but he's going to get enormous pressure, President Trump, from Congress, from his staff, before he agrees to that. There are pressures. It's very strange that he's even getting pressures from the Democrats. Democrats are opposed to everything Trump wants to do. So Democrats are actually saying the same thing, saying, giving Turkey these things would be crazy. So strange times.
What is to be gained by him doing this?
Money, 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 money.
Is it really all about? Is it really all about money? Nah, really.
I think that unfortunately President Trump is mostly focused on the U.S. economy, and by selling more stuff all around the world, he creates jobs and profits, and that's the most important thing to him.
Yeah.
I do think that he likes to project how he gets along with everybody and everyone likes him and everything like that. But at the end of the day, this is about money. It's about selling American goods overseas. And somebody who has kissed up to him, giving him some kind of reward, so that it encourages everyone to kiss up to him. It's a little bit ridiculous, but that's what he's thinking, and he's thinking very small, unfortunately.
Is it time to ask if something else is going on with President Trump, that something maybe is not right in the way he's handling this, and that there needs to be some form of, from the Republican side, a little bit more involvement in some of these decisions?
Well, he's when it comes to the Republican Party, he makes the decisions, and he won't, he'll listen to the people around him, but he will not. He will ultimately make the decision. Look, we saw what happened last night, and literally as we speak, I don't know if you've seen the news, but the U.S. hit 80 targets in Iran. Iran responded an hour ago with 25 targets hit on American bases in the Middle East. The MOU that they signed is beginning to collapse, and so I think a lot of this has to do with the elections, but again, a lot of it also has to do with President Trump just proved to himself and his constituency that when there is more stability in the Middle East, the price of oil will plummet, which is exactly what happened. And that gives him flexibility. And it happened very, very quickly. So it does give him flexibility if he wanted to try to deal with the problem now for the next few weeks. And ultimately, that, when things do stabilize, there is so much inventory of oil right now that the prices will drop, and he can point to it and say, see, it did before, it will again. Don't worry, we have to deal with this problem. So, to your point, I don't know how much of this is strategy or how much of this is stupidity. He surprises everybody, including myself. Time will tell, and we'll look back on this and be able to judge. But nobody really knows what's going through the brain of Donald J. Trump.
Has your view or your support of Donald Trump personally changed?
I would say that as I put on two hats. The first hat is as an American. I think he's doing some very good things for the U.S. A lot of good things for the U.S. For Israel, like the 76% of other Israelis, I'm extremely, extremely cautious about what he's doing, and frankly disappointed for now. Now, if this turns out to be one big strategic, one big strategy to ultimately try to win the midterms, but also deal with Iran, soon, then I'll be wrong, and I'll be the first to say that was brilliant. If I'm right, or if we're all right, if we're all wrong, and this, or right, and this is just him falling into the trap of people who treat him well, and he really does, want to bring peace in our time, then yeah, very deep disappointment. And obviously, J.D. Vance is, I was suspicious of him in day one, never a fan of that decision. So he's no matter what happens, given how nasty he was, he's not in the book anymore. Trump, I'm willing to suspend judgment. I am nervous about him, and so that's where we're standing.
I know that you have to go, but just a final question: why, given the closeness between Turkey and Iran, given the fact that this was announced yesterday and Trump is in Turkey, why would Iran have chosen this time to attack vessels?
I think that they, at the end of that the funeral for Khamenei. So I think that put them in, it demonstrated their weakness, right? It was embarrassing that they couldn't protect the Ayatollah, and so they, I think, for their own pride and the pride of their people, the millions who came out to get free potatoes and bananas. And also celebrate the funeral. They needed to show strength. And so they made a mistake. They never miss an opportunity. They attacked. They got hit very hard. But they needed to show, pride is much more important than life to the Iranians. And that's what they had to do after that funeral. And I suspect this will actually continue for a while. I think that the MOU is going to be kind of held up. And I think we're going to see a tit for tat and more severe attacks over the next maybe week or so, until Iran learns the hard way that they can't do this anymore.
That is where we leave it. Yigal Marcus, thank you as always, Director at Republican Overseas.